thrilled to have on the show with me somebody who really has become a friend. Like, this is more than just, you know, an entrepreneur that I met, you know, either through social media or at a networking event. This lady has really become a friend of mine. So, Colleen Falk, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today. And I agree. We have become friends.
So, Colleen, and for everybody listening and watching, like, we have an interesting backstory. By the way, because you're going to go through this conversation, and I might as well let you know. So, Colleen and I have never actually met each other in real life.
Which is very strange when you know somebody, right?
Yes, yes, yes. But we haven't, and even though we haven't met each other in real life, again, the connection and even the things that I have learned from her, whether she realizes it or not, as we have sort of grown this friendship, have been tremendous. So, Colleen, talk a little bit about your why as an entrepreneur and just kind of what you're doing every day while you're doing it.
Well, funny, because my why as an entrepreneur, if way back in my life, my father owned his own business. He owned an engineering architectural business. So I always grew up in a family-owned business, but never in my wildest dreams did I think I would necessarily be pursuing my own business. I just didn't, you know, it just wasn't in the back of my mind. And as time went on and the cards fell in place, I found that everything I was doing when I got married and everything that I was doing and pursuing kept wanting to turn into entrepreneurship. It was like this, whoa, there's something inside of me that kept wanting to just get out there and do it, and wasn't afraid of doing it because I watched my dad do it for many years. And you watch the ups and the downs and the, oh, are we going to meet payroll? And that, you know, so I wasn't going in it with rose-colored glasses. And when my husband said, hey, let's go into business, I thought, with what? We have no money. What are you talking about? Let's give it a try. So it was that it's a within thing. It's just something that bubbles within and you say, okay, and you don't even know why you said it.
Yeah. It just kind of, it's one of those things. It's like, it's boring. It's rumbling. Like, it's always been there. You answer it or you don't, type of thing.
Well, and isn't there a saying, entrepreneurs are born?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So for you, you were in a family of entrepreneurs. Your dad was an entrepreneur. You saw the family business, right? Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about, you know, did you sort of jump straight into entrepreneurship? Like, did you experience the world of like being an employee for a while and resisting the jump, or
well, what
was that?
Interesting about that is that my husband graduated from college with a degree in architectural model building. And I graduated with a business degree.
Okay.
He's the one that said, hey, let's start a sporting goods store. And I'm like, oh, what? Well, going through college, he worked his way through, his job was, believe it or not, for those of you that are fishermen and women, his job was to go out and get all the bait for the sporting goods store. So he was the best bait guy in northern Minnesota. So he said, do this, and I went, okay, wait, we have a brand new college degrees and what? And no money. So we put a business plan together and experience and our degrees. We went to the bank and the bank said yes. And that scared the heck out of me. I think way a bank's going to say yes to us. And stories, I could go on all day, but I'm not going to. I have story after story about all the things that went wrong, you know, that first 2 weeks of opening something we didn't have a clue we were doing. But, you know, I always tell people is that if you're going to decide to do it, you can't turn back. You can't look behind you. There's no more rear view mirror. You just go. And we put the blinders on. So my life has been my husband being the entrepreneur. I'm the team player. I'm the person in the background doing all the books and, you know, helping with marketing and this and that. And we have been on this road of different entrepreneurial paths together for almost 40 years now. And I've been the person that has worked. I've always been the person that worked and brought home the paycheck and the insurance and did all the other entrepreneurial things. So it's been a great ride. But interestingly enough, and I do want to share this with people, because when you put something together, I go back to that day that he looked at us young kids with no money and said yes, and we went, uh-oh. He said but years later, that same banker looked at me and I said, why did you say yes to us? I mean, honestly, we couldn't have been more of a risk. And he looked at me and he said, you know what? I looked at you two as a team. You two were a team. The stability there in that team, in my eyes, was going to be successful. And every time since then that we've gone on this journey together, like I said, I've been working full time, but trying to run businesses with my husband. It's always because we're a team. Really do need a team, whether that team is your spouse that just plain old supports you and says, I'm behind you, you know, they have a team behind you, even if they're not working in that business day to day.
That's a great nugget. I think, you know, I think about, just for me, coming out of corporate life, right? Experiencing what it is to have a team, manage a team, all this good stuff. You know, as I came into my second round of entrepreneurship here, it was so important for me, even from that carryover, like, you need a team. Like, you need, this is not an adventure that you even want to travel on, in my opinion, right? So talk to me. I think there's a couple interesting things here. First, and I just want to make sure this is not lost on the audience at all. Coming out of college, straight out of college, you guys are like, your husband is like, Colleen, we're going to do a sporting goods business. We've never done this before. He's had some experience, right, being the bait guy. But this is brand new. We don't have any money. We don't have this. We don't have that. But you knew where you wanted to go. Yes. And eventually got to that yes. I don't want the audience to miss this piece, because all too often I'll hear, and I'm sure you hear it too, being that, and I know we'll get into this, but I know that you teach entrepreneurship. All too often there are these false barriers sometimes, right? I don't have the money to do this. I'm not super qualified to do this. And even if it's not even said, but it's thought, you know what I mean? Those are huge barriers. Like, are there some big barriers that you see right now from aspiring entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. And people get into their head. I always say to entrepreneurs, only because I've lived it, I always say to them, if you say to me, what if, or if you say, I might not be able to, or if I hear anything like that, I'm going to stop you and say, let's wait until you're ready. Let's mindset is no matter what, I'm not going to look in the rearview mirror. No matter what, I am going to pursue whatever it takes to be successful. So after any apprehension, I stop them and say, wait, let's talk about that, because that has to go away before I want to help you move forward. And it's scary. Well, I'm scared. I get that. It is scary. It's risky. It's scary. But wait, let's at least talk about what those are, because you can't be in your head. You have to have a clean mind of, I'm going to have lots of barriers, but I am going to break through them no matter what it takes.
Knocking them all down. There is no plan B. That's what I like to say to myself. There is no plan B.
No. Not in entrepreneurship. No plan B. But there is a team behind you, like myself and your spouse or your whomever, whoever it might be, saying, nope, you can do it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And you need the rah-rah behind you. If you have anybody behind you going, I don't think you should. I don't think you should. Don't do it.
Yeah, and the thing, and just to mention one thing on that, because not everybody will be on your page. And I know this because I've experienced it myself. And I think it's so important that you protect your vision and your spirit, because especially if there are ones that are close to you or opinions that you respect, who not out of necessarily negativity, but sometimes it's just out of, they just want to protect you and they don't know that way of life. But that can be, it can mess with your mind. So like, getting yourself in a clean path of like, all right, this is the way I'm going. I'm determined. I'm surrounding myself with the things that I need that help me push forward. Ooh.
Well, and everybody needs to ask themselves, why am I doing this? That big old why. Well, I just want to buy myself a job. You know what? That's not, that's not a good enough reason. I need flexibility. Oh, by the way, you're going to put in 100 hours a week. There's no flexibility here. Right. So when you give me if I say why and you give me those answers, I go, yeah, I know.
Tell me about a time, Colleen, that was super scary for you guys in this journey.
Oh, you mean when we made $75 a day and we have 2 children and a house payment and we're going, oh.
That's probably a good one.
Oh my gosh. You come home and and again, it's that team thing, how many, of course, we were in a business that was cyclical. We live in northern Minnesota, so you always have the down times. And, we kind of started on a shoestring. We didn't have a whole lot back of us, but it's the, okay, just stop, okay, here's what we're going to do, and you can't do it alone and you can't suffer. You just got to be smart about it. And you've got to find mentors. You've got to find people that are successful and say, okay, here's where I'm at. I just need your opinion. You can't be afraid to ask. So when you say there's been a lot of tough times, and a lot of times it's, for a lot of people, it's not getting the income they need to, pay the bill for the end of the month or whatever. But always again, you got to hang in there. It takes time. It's like anything, it takes time.
But I was just having a conversation with someone else that's going to be on the show, and we were talking about patience. And just the role of patience. Like, what do you say to that aspiring entrepreneur who is kind of like, now please? What's your advice for them?
You mean as far as being patient? As far
Yeah.
as hanging in there. The problem is, a lot of times by the time I might have a conversation with an entrepreneur, which, oh, by the way, during these hard times, I'm a small business counselor also. So the conversations that I've had, yes, are really, really scary. But most of the time, it's not even patients as much as they're really scared. They just don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and they start getting really nervous about it. And again, what do I say to them? I say, let me help you, or let's find somebody that can help you with different avenues. You know, let's reach out. And then we start just checking off the boxes of how about, you know. So it's always, there's always a way. And you know, as a marketing person, I'm all about relationship building and networking.
Absolutely.
So I don't care what business you're in, you can always partner with somebody that is being successful to help you along your journey. I'm all about collaboration and partnerships, no matter who you are and no matter what you do. Collaborate. Go find somebody that can, the two of you together can raise each other up. There's another entrepreneur out there that's waiting for you to do that.
Amen. Amen to that.
Yep.
That's, you know, I'm one that's also big on collaboration. And I think, you know, when we talked about team a little bit earlier, that is another aspect to look at, right? Doesn't necessarily mean someone who works for you, like just like you mentioned with a spouse or something like that, but that power in syncing up with someone who maybe you guys share a similar audience, you know, maybe you have complimentary offers, whatever it is, that can do a lot to not only on your marketing side, your visibility and all that great stuff, but sometimes these are people that can turn into your biz besties, right? That understand,
Right.
you know, some of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and, you know.
Well, and you know what's interesting? It's not only that, it's the perception of the consumer. I'm just going to give you one tiny example because we've done so many of these throughout the years. We have a small sporting goods store at the south end of town, right? And when there was the big sporting goods store at the north end of town who just thought, well, when we went into business, what right did we have to go into business? Oh, by the way, this was way back in the early 80s, so it was a little bit more, you know, it was a little rougher then. But what was interesting is I finally said to my husband, I said, you know, people are going from the north side to the south side and they're sneaking into our store and then they sneak back. Oh, they don't want anybody to see them because they're really, I want them to know I'm their good customer, you know, right? So I'll tell you what, let's go meet with the big guy. Let's start running flyers together. We're selling the same inventory, right? Probably for the close to the same price. So we started running. We went and talked to him. He said, sure. He was the big guy. He didn't have anything to lose, right? So we actually started running flyers together. And the perception of the shoppers, you know, the consumer, like, what? Oh, this was cool. You mean we can go back and forth and it's okay, wow. You know? It was, we now it wasn't that, I always tell entrepreneurs, go find somebody that, you know, that you have like businesses, but it's not the same. And in this case, we're selling exactly the same inventory, right? Exactly, even from the same supplier. But it was real interesting watching the people and the consumer, and it benefited both of us because they went, oh, they're friends. It's okay, you know?
It's okay. We can
it was
show
wild.
our faces when we shop.
It was wild.
Wow, that's awesome. So what do you, so like in scenarios like that, and that is brilliant, where you found cooperative, you found the collaboration there, you know, there are a lot of people who are afraid of, this other person may see me as competition, or, you know, I wouldn't dare ask them because, you know, we have at least one thing that's similar that we sell. Like, what do you say to people who are thinking that way?
Believe it or not, I'm usually the person that says, come on, I know them, I know that, let's meet and have coffee. I'm usually that, I'm the person, the bringer, the people, you know, collaborate. And the people that I've put together, it's just an uncomfortable, you know, situation. But next thing you know, they're figuring it out. They're going, well, you know what, that would be great. Can we partner in that? You know, you do that so much better than I do that. Could we, is there, you know, and I'm not that going, okay, I really don't need to be here anymore. You know, so it's having the guts and not being afraid of, even if you think you're competing, you're really not. You're supporting each other. You're actually, and from the consumer, it's so much better from a consumer standpoint to see you guys as friends, not a competition. It really is.
You know, that's funny, because that's something that I've never thought about. Like, I never thought about that consumer aspect of like, oh my gosh, I want to buy from her, but I don't want her to feel bad. Like, I never thought about that.
Right.
I think that's a super valid point, though, that there's a whole lot of opportunity. There is some perception, perhaps from your consumers, your customers, your clients, that you could increase their experience by doing a collaboration and increase your revenue. It's a win for everybody.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So tell me, Colleen, on your journey so far, what's been like your proudest moment? Like a moment when you have sat back like, so glad that we decided to build a business, or 2 or 3 in your case. However you guys have done.
For me, what's really fun is that every single business that my husband and I have started together, and this is so lucky, I don't know if somebody's just watching out for us, but every single business we've had, we have sold not because we put it on the market, but because somebody's walked in and said, I really want to buy your business. And we go, okay, we'll just move on. So that's kind of our proudest moment, that we're building businesses and wanting them, and we sell them, and then we just move on to something else. And that has happened again. It just happened with us this summer, and we're in what, bad times. We had a competitor call and say, are you guys interested in selling? Because I would love to have your business. And we went, sold.
Not a problem. Now let's dig into this a little bit. So set the stage for just how many businesses you all have raised, have sold off.
We started with a sporting good bait store, built that up, had somebody come in and ask to buy it, we sold. Then from there, my husband started, he didn't really know what to do at that point. He went, I'm just gonna start installing docks and boat lifts and selling them. So he did that. Some guy approached him about a year later. I mean, he grew that, just exploded that business.
Wow. I
approached him, bought it. So now we're going, I said, okay, yeah, no, you're not going to retire. You're not gonna retire. What do you want to do now? And he said, I don't know. So we got online, you know, you do all that. And well, you know, what do we have a passion for, we're good at starting, building businesses. What they were, we didn't even know about sporting goods really when we went into it. So we found Anytime Fitness back again in the early 80s or early, it was 2004, I think it was. And we went, oh, Anytime Fitness. That's in St. Paul. That's really close. They're in Minnesota. Let's go visit them. So we jumped in the car and we went down there and we said, we think we're maybe want to be an Anytime Fitness franchise owner. And at the time, there wasn't even 200 franchises. And now Anytime has, fitness has exploded and they're all over the world. So we were first 200 and hey, we like you guys. We kind of like your story. And next thing you knew, we opened 3 of them. Not where we live, of course, that'd be too easy. But we opened them within about 2 hours of our home. And there we
wow.
Opening Anytime Fitness franchises, and loved it because we were changing people's lives. And I am a consultant, and what I do, and we say consultant, everybody's a consultant, but I work with processes and organizational change. That's what my business is. And I find that that passion that I talked about way, way, way back that I was born with, that passion in me and for my husband and for us together, however that is, we like to change people's lives. And he does it well in the world of health, and I do it well in the world of helping people grow one way or another, whether it's a company or you personally. I want to help you grow. And I don't mean coaching grow. I mean helping an entrepreneur one way or the other. So
now, do you think that you found that along the journey? Or do you think it's something like, okay, we know we want to do this, I know I want to help in health, so let's get Anytime Fit. Or do you think it just became, as you were in the rhythm of it became?
It became because we were going, why do we pursue what we pursue? Of course, sporting goods and that's not really changing people's lives. As we went on together and we started talking about this, and as I started migrating, just to take a step back, I never was going to go into teaching either. I got my master's in industrial technology. And I have business in industrial technology. Whoever thought of teaching? And somebody approached me and said, I think you'd be really good at training people. And I'm like, really? Okay.
Let me give this a try.
Yeah, okay. And I love it. I've been doing it for 30 years. I always in higher education or just non-credit within companies. And notice that I am good. I went with that going, oh yeah, I'm changing people's lives. I'm making a difference. I'm helping people grow. And my husband said the same thing. It's really weird that our passion turned into helping people grow one way or the other, Now, he's got a lot of Anytime Fitness people calling him saying, how did you do this and this and this and this? Seeing him as a successful Anytime Fitness franchise owner. So he's helping others grow their Anytime Fitness, which is very cool. Yeah.
I love it.
You don't always get paid for that, but that's okay. It's gratifying.
Your give back.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I love that just process, that discovery that you went through. And I honestly believe that some things only happen by you getting out there, getting in it, getting your hands dirty, like figuring it out. I can't count the number of times I wanted to go one way, and then I start doing something and I'm like, but maybe not. Maybe it's really this thing over here or that thing. And that's where the action is just like amazing. So I love what has happened with you guys in your journey.
Well, and as an entrepreneur, if you're truly an entrepreneur, you really do need to follow that feeling. That sounds crazy, but it's a feeling. And if you think, Okay, I feel it, follow it. I mean, it's weird to say because you can tell somebody who truly has that entrepreneurial spirit versus, and it's
Mhm.
about risk. It's being able to know how to follow that feeling, like you're saying,
Mhm.
okay, I'm going to do it. I can. I think I can. I think I can.
I know I can do it. There's no other choice.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
It's like the train. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Okay.
So when you look back, Colleen, like if you look back, let's look back at, I don't know how old you were when you graduated college. What is it? Usually like 20, 21?
I actually started when I was 16. So I was pretty
Okay.
young. 20
So
when I
let's,
graduated. Yeah.
okay, look at you, fancy
Yeah.
pants.
I have no idea why.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look back on that you, like that Colleen. What do you say to that Colleen that's just starting out in this journey? Like, what do you say to her now?
Well, first of all, I listened to others. I was young. I listened to my father, which I respect very much, and he put me in engineering school for 3 years. And then all of a sudden I found my head and went, engineering?
What was I thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm too, and there's something here, and something's not right. I'm not feeling it, Dad, I'm just, thank you, but I'm not feeling it, but I was in a protected environment. I was learning something good. And my 3rd year in engineering, I jumped ship and went into business. That's the feeling. I said, I'd much rather run your engineering business, than engineer in your business. And it was I guess I've told a lot, my girls included, when I saw them, my one daughter was going to be a teacher since the day she was born. She's a kindergarten teacher, and she has more patience than our Lord, let me tell you. Wow.
Bless her heart.
But my other daughter went through that same struggle I did. And I said, stop. You're listening to everybody else. What's in here? What's in here?
Mm-hmm.
And my young self, I wish I would, not everybody supported me when I made that decision. It was quite the fight. And I think I would say, just really, if you're feeling that this isn't right and you know why it isn't right, not just because you feel it, you can, I just wanted to be in business. I just loved it for some reason. I loved all the curriculum. I loved everything about it. So myself, I'd say you did okay. That was okay to make that decision, even against others' wishes.
Yeah, and I hear in there, like, trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself.
And as entrepreneurs, don't we have to trust ourselves? We have to believe in ourselves more than anybody believes in us, right?
Absolutely. 1000%.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This conversation has been amazing, Colleen, as every conversation that we get to have. And
Yes.
I mean, truly, like, the listeners and the watchers don't know the half. So I get a chance to talk with Colleen every week, if not multiple times in a week. We're both co-founders of Rare Leaders, and just hearing your story and your journey, there's so much in there about persistence and trusting yourself and discovering and just saying yes when it's scary. Like, I love it. Colleen, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. It was fun. Thanks a lot.
Now, Colleen, if people are listening and they're wanting to talk to you further, get in contact with you, what's the best way they can connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is really through my email, and I'm happy to give that out. Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just Colleen Falk at Yahoo, and I'll spell that for you. It's COLLEEN, F as in Frank, ALK, Colleen Falk at yahoo.com. And I I'd love to share. I love to share. But you know, it's more than sharing. I've lived it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. You cannot beat lived experiences. Let me say that. So Colleen, I'm also going to make sure for everybody listening and watching that Colleen's information is put into the show notes at candacepearce.com. So you could always go back and you can find it there as well. Colleen, thank you, my dear friend.
It was fun. Thank you.
Now, for everybody listening and watching, you know what I always say, don't just take everything that you heard and hold on to it. And oh my gosh, if you heard nothing else, trust yourself and say yes when it's scary. I hope you have a great day, a great evening, whenever you're listening or watching. I will talk to you again very, very soon.